What's going on, guys? Hitball's back for the next part of this tutorial, and in this part the first thing that we are going to handle here is getting the weapon firing on auto, meaning we hold down the button and we have a machine gun instead of just a single fire rifle. So to do that, we already have the functionality here for spawning the bullet, right? And we actually already have the sound too. So the animation here is playing as well, so we're going to need that to go as well. So what we're actually going to do is disconnect our input, and we're going to make a custom event, and we're going to call this fire weapon. Okay, now the cool thing about this is now we can say, hey, you know, replicated, run on the server only, just it's all going to go fine. So obviously I'm not making a multiplayer game here, but so what we want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and default us to auto fire right now, but then then we'll feed in the option of being able to actually swap the fire mode between single shot and auto fire. In this case, like I said, just want to get the auto fire working good, and then we'll figure out how to swap between the two. So basically what we need is a new variable called I want to say is shooting. No, we'll just do that, because I was going to say holding fire or something like that, but we'll say is shooting, and we need that to be a boolean because it's just an on-off. Alright, so what we're going to do is just make 2 copies of this, so when we press we are shooting, and when we release we're not. Okay, so now we probably actually don't need this variable here because we can handle it another way as well. But what we want to do is we need to now get this to happen on an interval. Now there's 2 ways to do this. One I believe is more reliable than the other. The first would be we can use a timer, which is not reliable. The other we can use tick, which is. So we are going to have to fly tick into this thing, and this is a whole, by the way, this whole segment here was something completely different. I actually have made a video on it, and I'll just show you guys here really quick. It's actually pretty cool. Just so you know what that is, I actually have the ability to, well, now I can move him and everything, but I actually have the ability to have them shake hands. So that's all what that is. So I just grabbed, I was going to use tick for that to figure something out because I needed to interp something. So in this case what we're going to do is I think we're going to pop open a gate. Okay, so the tick enters the gate, and then the gate determines whether or not it can pass through, whether or not it's closed. And we actually do want to start closed. So when we press it, we're going to open the gate while it's held down, and when we release it, we're going to close the gate. Okay, and now essentially what we can do is fire weapon. Now if we did this, we're going to have one hell of a fire rate. Okay, we're going to be shooting like an actual liquid stream, but we don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to run a delay here. Okay, now a delay, it can be kind of confusing because you're like, what happened? Okay, so I came in here and I hit a delay. What happens the next time I come in here? Well, it's going to see this delay, and it's going to see that it's not ready yet, and it's just going to stop here, which is actually exactly what we want. And the other thing that we want to have happen is we're going to promote this to a variable, and we're going to change the name of this to be fire rate, because this is going to basically control how quickly the gun fires. As you know, like a submachine gun goes, you know, really, really fast, shoots 1,000 rounds a second, and M60 shoots 30, you know, 20, 14 rounds a second, whatever the hell, you know, the actual numbers are. I don't know. But there is one thing that we want to do. We actually want to take into account our frame rate so that we maintain a consistent fire rate. Now, I don't exactly know if I'm doing this correctly, but I believe we can do this. And what this is actually going to do is this is the thing is this is a fluctuating number that goes up and down based on however long it took the last frame to get calculated or something. This may be such a small number that we are still shooting extremely fast. Because remember, our fire rate's defaulted at 0.02 or 0.2. So let's just try this for now and see how fast it shoots, and then let's do a little bit of experimenting here with this thing. I can't remember if this is how you're supposed to do it, so that you can say, okay, I got my computer's totally awesome, it's really, really great, it's got everything, and it has max FPS, I have 5,000 FPS. Well, I don't want to shoot faster than the poor bastard that's got 3 FPS. You know, so this is why this value, the guy that's got 3 FPS, he's gonna have like 0.2 here. The guy who's got 5,000 FPS is going to have like 0.000000002 between frames, right? Because he can process faster because he's got a better computer. So we need to make it consistent between different computers, and that's actually why they have that. But like I said, I don't exactly remember how to do it, but let's just give it a shot. Holding the button down. Now there's one thing to note. We are still locked here. Okay? We are still locked here. Though I believe that projectiles are coming out. Let me see. I'm going to slow the projectile down so I can tell what's going on. We need to go to projectile movement, and I'll say, you know, 500, 500, and I think that's okay for now. Oops. Yeah, see how many I'm actually shooting when I hold the button down? I'm shooting tons of them. Okay, so my weapon firing and my projectiles coming out are not even remotely synced, because this animation it doesn't care about what's actually happening otherwise, right? It's just playing an animation, and it's locking itself because it won't play it if it's already playing. So this is only going to go at a certain rate no matter what. So we need to, the problem is we need to bypass this based on whether or not we're in single shot or not. And again, you know, this, you got to keep in mind, okay, the animation has him cocking it like it's a shotgun every time he shoots, you know, bang, bang, right? That we're going to ignore that because we don't have an auto-firing shotgun here right now. So what we need to do is we need to run a check here to say whether or not we're actually auto-firing. And that, I think, fire rate is shooting. I think what we're going to do, the easiest way to do this is I think we're going to give ourselves an enumeration. Enumeration is simply a list. It's just a list for the most part, but it can be changed. It's kind of a state in essence. It's hard to explain, but an enumeration, when we create it, we'll call this firing mode enum. I have like a piece of sand in my throat because I was out there mowing the sand. Okay, so the enumerator here, what we want to do, I want to hit new, and these are just, we're just gonna, basically what we need is 3 modes, okay? We're going to call this semi-auto, auto, and burst. Okay, we're not going to handle burst just yet, because burst is going to be exactly the same thing as auto, except it's only going to fire 3 bullets before it's done, and then you'll have to release the button and press it again to have it happen again. So we have this list now, and again, it's just a bunch of names. It's just names. That's all. But what we can do is we can create a new variable, and this variable, if we type firing, well, we should actually find that on the list, firing mode enum. Okay, so we can now get that variable, and we'll call this firing mode, or fire mode, or whatever you want to call it. And what we want to do is we want this to default to auto for now, and this will be what we switch whenever we actually hit like a key, like V. If we want to swap the firing mode, if you want to allow the players to swap the firing mode, you can do that. But you don't have to do that. And you can still add this functionality here, because if he's holding a pistol, he's semi-auto. If he's holding a machine gun, it's, you know, auto, and we can tell. And we should be able to pick this up probably from maybe the weapon. So I'm not doing this exactly good because I wouldn't store this information on the character. I would store it on the weapon. So maybe I should do that. but I'm going to skip it. Mostly because my dog's about to go balls out. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to do switch on enum, and that is going to allow us to branch this guy out based on what's going on. So the only thing we need to really control right now anyway is the animation. So if it's semi-auto, we go here, but if it's auto, we bypass that because we don't care if it's already firing. We need it to restart. Now burst again is going to go in a different path, but we're going to start with auto. Okay, just as a start. And this should make the to be honest with you, it's probably going to get really loud. Sorry about that. Just go 4. Okay. Play. Okay, now you'll notice that it's so fast that it doesn't even look like the animation's playing. Okay. It's going way too fast. Also, the other thing I want to do here really quick is I want to turn the debug on this thing to be duration, because I need to double check that our trace is good. It looked all spazzy. Yeah. It's ignoring us and it's going right where we're aiming. Actually, I think I hit him in the leg. Is it going through him? I think it's tracing through that dude. It should not do that. Is, our own capsule component maybe set to ignore camera, because we're tracing by visibility, which is the camera channel. No, it's blocking the camera. Oh, visibility. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll just allow you to hit his cylinder for now. Yeah, technically what you're supposed to do is give him a physics asset and hit that, not his cylinder. But that should stop the trace. No? Not yet, huh? I did hit compile. Capsule. This part actually always gets me, by the way. I don't know if it gets anybody else, but this part nails me. Collision enabled. Actor visibility. Do I want camera? No, I want visibility. He should be blocking visibility traces, and he's not. Irritating. Let's try complex. Right through. He is not blocking it. So I don't know if I want to get hooked. I do not want to get hung up on this, because we're only ignoring ourselves, so we shouldn't be ignoring the other dude. But let's disconnect that really quick. Last test, and then I'll just move on. I don't, like I said, I don't want to spend time on that. It's still hitting. But that's a bit of a bug that could be possibly fixed a little bit better. So our firing rate is really low, and I think I'm messing it. I think I'm doing this incorrectly. I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I think I'm just I'm just going to do this for now, and this should slow it down. Okay. So he keeps on shooting. And I killed him. And he said, "God damn, I died." What is that? Does anybody else get this? Okay. Yeah, I really... what are you supposed to do here? I can't remember. I'll look it up. I'll let you guys know in a new video. But for now, we'll just skip that. I know there's supposed to be a way that you can, like, have it factor in the frame rate, and I just think I've got the math screwed up. So now we're on auto. Let's try semi-auto. Oh wait, actually, might as well give us the ability to swap. So what we're going to do is when we press the button, I'm actually going to run this check here too. So if it's auto, we set it to shooting and we run the tick, but if it's semi-auto, we just want to fire the weapon. Okay, and we need to have a variable plugged in here, and the firing mode we want to default to right now just a semi-auto, and we're going to hook that in here too so that we have a consistency, so the same variable controls them both. Okay, there's no one of them won't. We don't want one on auto and the other on semi-auto. That wouldn't do us any good. So now I'm on semi, and it should, if I hold the button down, it doesn't play again. And I can't shoot any. Well, actually, I can shoot faster than the animation. So let's fix that, because we're doing a sequence here, which means regardless of what this did, this happened. So unfortunately, that means the sequence goes away, and we actually want to branch from here, unless obviously we wanted to do a sequence after that's checked the firing mode or whatnot as well, but it doesn't make a difference. So if I hold the button, if I tap it as fast as I can still only shoot one. But if I hold the button down, it does not do that. And then obviously if I take the firing mode and set that now to auto and hold the button down, okay. So there are firing modes, and it's pretty easy. And what we can do just for fun, input, we'll add an action mapping, and we'll call this fire chode, and we'll make it the V key, because I think that's pretty standard for that. Alright, and then what we do is fire mode here. We're gonna do a highlight that, and we'll do switch on enum again, and we want the fire mode enum. And what we're gonna do, every time we press that, we're gonna come here. Again, we're ignoring burst right now, so we're never gonna hit this for anything. But what we'll do is we'll just flip-flop these. So if we're semi-auto, we'll go to auto, and if we're auto, we'll go to semi-auto, and that's it. So I have auto, I'll hit V, now I hold the button down, and I don't do anything. Now I have to click. Okay. If I hit V again, and then hold the button, and it wouldn't be very difficult to throw a little icon on the HUD to show what mode you're in. So let's move now to deviation, or should we do that in a new video? And I kind of think we want to do that in a new video, just so I can separate these parts a little bit easier. Hopefully this makes sense. Again, we're not using this yet, but we will later on. We're going to need this, because this is going to tell us, like, say somebody reloads the gun, and while it's reloading, they want to start shooting the instant that it finishes reloading. Well, if we don't have a variable storing whether or not they're holding the button down, we can't read that right away, because it's easy to do something when an event happens, but it's a little bit less easy to do it later down the road, you know, to see if something is still happening. And this is the easiest way to test that. Okay, just so you know, I hope it's not confusing that I did add this. It like I said, it comes in handy later for, like, say, like a reload. If you want the player to be able to, say you want the player to be able to hold the button down or tape it down and walk away and have the character unload his entire stock of ammunition. He'll shoot, when he runs out he'll reload, and when the reload's done he'll go back to shooting, and he'll just cycle back and forth like that as long as that button's held down. You need this for that. Okay, in this case we're not doing that, but we're still okay. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. We'll do deviation in another video. I know the projectile doesn't look great or anything like that, and I know the animations don't really line up, and the character's not aiming up and down and stuff. For instance, I can shoot straight down, and you see what happens. You can see where the bullet went right there at that square, but obviously that would not be feasible, right? Shooting like that. It would be okay in a first person, but in third person, we don't have any aim offset, and I'm actually going to add that, and I'll show you guys how we do it and stuff. But for now, I will look the wrong way. I gotta fix that. You know, it does work, by the way. It's just that I turned on the use rotation so that even while I can look around like this now. That's why my handshake doesn't work anymore, by the way, because it's still using my rotation like that. So that's it for this part. Yep, that's fire mode. I think it's pretty easy, honestly. It's kind of a non-issue. We just had to add stuff. I like to use enums anywhere as possible, just because it's kind of... you could use an integer, you could use even a float or a boolean or something. Hey, am I auto? If I'm not auto, am I semi-auto? If I'm not semi-auto, am I burst? If I'm not burst, am I grenade? You know, you can go down that chain, but why not just use a list? You know, it's easy, because you got this handy feature right here, switch on the enum. So it's just kind of almost a state machine. We're in, whatever state firing mode states that it's in, get it? And then we're good to go. So hit pause, signing off. I'll see you guys in the next one, and thanks for watching.